The tea bubbling in the cup looked ordinary. But inside that quiet little cafe in Chiang Mai, one friend began to speak of that day, the day no one wanted to remember. And when the tea began to change color, she realized something was sitting at their table. Something that hadn't come to drink tea, but to take back what was lost. Tonight, this tea is not just a warm drink. It is an invitation, from someone who should never have returned. Don't blink, because every second from now will make you think twice before you ever drink tea again. Steam rose softly from the glass teacup. The warm mist lingered over the old wooden table inside a small cafe in Chiang Mai. Afternoon sunlight filtered through the glass window, touching the faces of three friends laughing together. The faint clink of a spoon against the cup echoed gently. The aroma of oolong tea mixed with the scent of freshly baked bread filled the air. Pim smiled at her friends. But inside, she felt that something was not quite right. Min's eyes locked on her. Silent, and longer than usual. Pim, do you still remember that day? Min's voice was soft, trembling slightly. Pim set her cup down. The warmth of the glass still clung to her fingertips. Which day? She asked, though her heartbeat quickened with unease. A cool breeze from the air conditioner brushed past her skin, raising goosebumps she could not explain. Min smiled, but it was not the warm smile Pim remembered. The day the three of us went to that old house by the river. Min's voice was slow and deliberate. Silence. Even the quiet murmur of nearby tables seemed to vanish. Pim caught the scent of her tea changing, from fragrant to something faintly burnt, almost metallic. She turned toward the third friend. The chair beside her was empty. The teacup across the table still steamed, the liquid inside darkening slowly into a deep red. Pim's hands trembled. Her heartbeat thundered in her chest until she could hear nothing else. Min remained seated across from her. Her smile widened, and in her eyes, there was something Pim could not describe. Pim's breath quickened as the room seemed to tighten around her. The once cozy cafe now felt unfamiliar, as if every sound, every flicker of light, had changed its tone. The laughter from the counter faded into an echo, distorted and far away. Even the soft jazz music that had been playing moments ago had stopped, replaced by the faint hum of the ceiling fan turning above her head. She looked at Min again. Her friend's face appeared calm, but her eyes, those eyes, held a strange gleam, like ripples on black water. Something in that gaze made Pim's stomach twist. It was as if Min was seeing something beyond her, something behind her. Pim turned slightly, hesitant, glancing over her shoulder. Nothing, only the dim reflection of the cafe's interior in the glass window. But in that reflection, for a split second, she thought she saw someone standing. A figure behind her, tall, motionless. She blinked, and it was gone. Her pulse raced. The air felt thicker now, heavy with a strange scent. A mix of damp wood and rust, sharp enough to sting her nose. Min, Pim whispered, her voice barely escaping her throat. Where's Fon? Min tilted her head slightly, as if trying to understand a question in a language she had never heard before. Her lips curled into that same unsettling smile. She's here, Min said softly. She's been here since we started our tea. Pim's heart skipped. Her eyes darted to the empty chair again. The teacup still sat there, steam rising in delicate spirals. But this time, she noticed something else. A faint red stain at the rim of the cup. A mark that looked disturbingly like a fingerprint. She swallowed hard. The light in the cafe flickered once, then steadied. Her reflection in the window seemed a shade darker than before. Pim tried to stand, but her legs felt heavy. Her knees trembled, her fingers clutching the edge of the table for balance. Min leaned forward slightly, her tone low and oddly calm. Do you remember what happened in that house, Pim? The words hit her like a slap. Memories she had tried to bury began clawing their way back. The old wooden house by the river. The creaking floorboards. The sound of rushing water outside. And Fon's laughter echoing through the empty rooms. They had gone there for fun. 3 friends, chasing an old ghost story. They were supposed to stay for just an hour. But something had gone wrong. Something had followed them. Pim shook her head, trying to clear the blur of images that flashed behind her eyes. I don't want to remember, she whispered. Min's expression softened for a moment, almost like pity, before hardening again. You have to, she said. She's waiting for you to remember. Who? Pim's voice cracked. Who's waiting? Min didn't answer. Instead, she reached out, slowly, and pointed toward the third chair. The air around them seemed to grow colder. The condensation on the glasses began to freeze, a thin layer of frost creeping across the table's surface. Pim's breath came out in visible puffs. Her eyes widened. The teacup that had belonged to Fawn trembled slightly. Then, it moved, just an inch, but enough for Pim to see it happen. The spoon inside it clinked, spinning once on its own. Pim gasped, backing her chair away, but her body felt unresponsive. Like her muscles no longer obeyed her. She could not scream. Min, stop, she managed to say. Please, what are you doing? Min didn't move. Her eyes were fixed on the cup, and her lips began to move silently, whispering something Pim could not hear. Then the lights flickered again, twice, 3 times, before plunging the room into half shadow. Only the faint orange glow from outside streetlights seeped through the window, casting long, distorted shapes on the walls. Pim felt a drop of liquid on her hand. Warm, sticky. She lifted her trembling hand to look, and saw a thin streak of red running down from the ceiling, landing right between the teacups. Her chest tightened. She looked up. Above the table, the ceiling wood had darkened, as if soaked through by something wet, something that was slowly dripping down in steady, rhythmic beats. Min didn't even flinch. She was staring straight ahead now, her pupils dilated, her breathing slow and unnatural. Pim reached across the table, desperate to grab her arm. But Min's skin was ice cold. The contact made Pim jolt backward. It was like touching something that wasn't alive. Min, she shouted. Snap out of it. No response. Just that faint hum again. The same low vibration Pim had heard the day they visited that house. Then she heard it. A new sound, faint at first but growing clearer. The creak of footsteps, slow and deliberate, behind her. Pim froze. Every muscle in her body tensed. She didn't want to turn around. She couldn't. The steps stopped right behind her chair. The scent of wet soil and decaying leaves filled her lungs. A shiver ran down her spine. She forced herself to move, just enough to glance at the window reflection. There, standing behind her, was the outline of a woman, pale, motionless, hair dripping wet as if she had just come from the river. Her head tilted slightly, and in the reflection, Pim saw that her eyes were open, staring directly into hers. The world seemed to tilt. The sound of her heartbeat drowned everything else. Min whispered one final sentence, her voice soft, almost a sigh. She never left the river, Pim. You did. The teacup shattered. The lights blinked once more, and everything went dark. But in that darkness, Pim could still hear it. The slow, deliberate sound of breathing. Not hers, not Min's, but someone sitting right beside her, in the empty chair where Fawn used to be. And the faint scent of tea, now completely replaced by the smell of blood and river water, filled the air around her, as a cold hand gently touched her shoulder. Then came the whisper, a voice she had not heard in years. Familiar, tender, yet wrong in every possible way. Pim, you left me there. The chair creaked. The sound of water dripping echoed louder, until it felt like the cafe itself was sinking beneath the river's surface. And in that final moment, before the world fell silent again, Pim realized, the tea they shared that afternoon was not meant for the living. The cold hand on Pim's shoulder lingered only a second before it withdrew, leaving a patch of frost on her skin that burned with icy pain. The air inside the cafe was still, too still, as though the entire world was holding its breath. She slowly turned her head. The chair beside her was empty again. No figure, no movement, only the faint wisp of steam curling from the shattered teacup, the scent of metal still clinging to the air. Min sat motionless across the table, her face pale under the dim glow of the ceiling light that had somehow returned. Her eyes were open but distant, like she was watching something only she could see. Min, Pim whispered, her voice hoarse, but Min did not respond. A single tear slid down her cheek, and then she, too, vanished, as if she were made of smoke. The cafe door creaked open behind her. A rush of cool evening air swept through, carrying with it the sound of passing traffic, the ordinary noise of the city, the reminder that life outside still moved forward. Pim stood up, her legs unsteady. The world around her seemed real again, yet unreal at the same time, as if she had crossed a thin veil and returned from somewhere she should never have gone. She walked toward the door, pausing for a moment to glance back at the table. 3 cups, one shattered, one empty, one still half full, its surface perfectly still. Her reflection in the window caught her attention. For a brief instant, she thought she saw 3 figures standing there. Herself, Min, and Fon. Just like before, smiling together as if nothing had ever gone wrong. But when she blinked, only her reflection remained. The cafe behind her was empty. Silent. She stepped outside. The air was crisp, scented with rain and jasmine. The sky above Chiang Mai had deepened into a dusky violet, and the first stars were beginning to appear. Pim took a deep breath, trying to steady her heart, but her fingers still trembled. She glanced down at her hands, and froze. A faint red stain marked her fingertips, like tea, or blood, that would not wash away. She wiped them against her skirt, but the mark remained, a quiet reminder of something that refused to be forgotten. Somewhere in the distance, she thought she heard laughter, soft, familiar, echoing from the direction of the river. Fon's laughter. The sound faded quickly, carried away by the wind. Pim turned toward the road, her shadow stretching long across the pavement. The cafe door closed behind her with a gentle click. No one was left inside. As she walked away, the light in the window flickered once more, and for a heartbeat, 2 silhouettes could be seen sitting at the table, their heads bowed together, as if still sharing a quiet cup of tea. And then, the light went out. That evening, the people passing by the little cafe on the corner would later say they saw candles flickering inside long after closing time. And 3 cups set neatly on the table by the window, as though waiting for someone who never came back.